All right, let's talk about something a lot of property sellers in the Philippines quietly do, but it's one of the shortcuts that can backfire big time. Have you ever heard someone say, just declare a lower price in the deed of sale para mas mababa yung tax? So yeah, that's what we're talking about in this video. So on paper, it sounds smart. You declare less and pay less. But what most people don't realize is that small savings can cost you big later and even get you into legal trouble. So let's break it down. What actually happens when you undervalue a property in the deed of absolute sale? So in the Philippines, whenever you sell real estate, your taxes are based on the highest value among two things. So number one, the price you declare in the deed of sale, or number two, the fair market value, which is based on the BIR zonal value and or the fair market value from the assessor's office or the fair market value mentioned in the tax declaration. So even if you declare a low price, the BIR will still use the higher value among those two to compute your taxes. So this is important, especially in the central business districts, where the BIR has made a concerted effort to make the zonal values closer and even higher than current market values. And you'll see later why that is important. So why do people still do it? So what are the pros they think they get? So people undervalue because they think they'll pay less. So because capital gains tax is 6% and documentary stamps tax is 1.5%, and then you may have lower notarial and registration fees, which are also based on the price mentioned in the deed of absolute sale. If your purchase price is above the zonal value, you might save on fees. But if the purchase price if the purchase price is already below the fair market value, it doesn't help at all because the BIR will automatically base your taxes on the higher value anyway. So this is the situation, in the central business districts where sometimes the zonal values are higher than the current market values. So what are the hidden dangers? So this is where it gets real. Let's talk about the cons, and these are serious. First, declaring a false price is technically tax evasion. The BIR can audit your transaction, penalize you, and even file criminal charges. Although personally, I have not heard anyone who has been tried and convicted of this, it can happen. Right? Second, if you're the buyer, you're at risk. Okay? If the deal somehow encounters a problem and you need to get a refund, you need to get your money back, you can only claim the amount that you declared in the deed of absolute sale, not what you actually paid. Imagine paying 5 million, but legally being entitled to only 2 million pesos back. So that's painful. You can't say you paid 5 million because in the deed of absolute sale, you declared that you only paid 2 million. Third, if you plan to use the property for collateral, the banks can also use the declared value in the deed of absolute sale. So a low declared price can reduce the appraised collateral value, meaning you might get a smaller loan than you should. Okay? Although the bank might ignore the price in the deed of absolute sale and follow their own appraisal. So the banks do their own appraisals. They look at market values of surrounding properties, surrounding similar properties, or they also do other methods, to appraise the value of a property. And they might follow that. It all depends on the bank. But there's that small risk where you can get a lower loan. So let's look at an example, just so you can see what we're talking about. So let's say you're selling a property for 5 million pesos and the BIR fair market value in the area is 4 million. So let's compute your taxes if you declare the correct amount. So if you declare 5 million, your capital gains tax is 6%. So 5 million times 6%, that is equal to 300,000 pesos. And for your DST or documentary stamps tax, that's 1.5%. So 5 million times 1.5%, then you pay 75,000. So the total for the CGT and DST is 375,000 pesos if you declare the correct amount of 5 million. Now what happens when you decide to declare only 3 million in the deed of sale? So here's what happens. Because the BIR fair market value is 4 million, then the basis for the taxes will be 4 million instead of 3. So for capital gains tax, you have 4 million times 6%. The amount is 240,000. For DST, so that's 4 million times 1.5%, and the amount is 60,000. So the total is 300,000 pesos. So even though you declared 3 million, the BAR still uses 4 million as the basis. And in this example, you may have saved 75,000 pesos, although you added an unnecessary legal risk on the buyer's end. So the bottom line is this: declaring a lower price might sound clever in some cases, but it can cause bigger problems later. So if you found this helpful, hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe for more real estate insights. And if you want to learn how to do deals the smart and legal way, join us inside the Cashflow Dealmakers School. Link is in the description. Remember, the real power isn't in cutting corners, it's in knowing how to structure your deals right. So see you in the next video.